Now I have the honor to invite His Excellency, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, Prime Minister of Denmark, to address the conference. I request protocol to escort His Excellency.
Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, distinguished ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the Kingdom of Morocco for generously hosting this high-level conference. Denmark firmly believes in the value of international cooperation between sovereign states. For many decades, Denmark has been a trusted partner of the United Nations, deeply engaged in humanitarian and development work. This conference addresses the growing phenomenon of migration. In our globalized world, migration is an urgent need of better management. Historically, migration has been a vehicle of prosperity around the world. Only 3.4% of the world's population is migrants, and yet they produce 9.4% of global GDP. But a shady side of migration has been growing recently. Millions of migrant workers live and work under horrible conditions in many parts of the world. And irregular migrants set out on deadly journeys to cross the Mediterranean, only to waste years of their lives in a limbo in Europe with no legal rights to stay and with no future. And we do not encourage this. These are lives that deserves better. And that is why we believe the Global Compact for safe, orderly and regular migration is both timely and most needed. And that is why we support the Global Compact as a non-legally binding cooperative framework. Cross-border problems need cross-border solutions. We all realize this. Migrants who have been invited must be treated fairly and well in all countries across the world, while irregular migrants who have no legal rights to stay must be effectively and safely readmitted to their home countries. Today, we celebrate the 70th anniversary of the UN Declaration of Human Rights. It was indeed a great achievement, and it is important to reconfirm these global human rights today. Every human being has human rights. But it's also important to emphasize that migration is not a human right. And migration can never be unchecked or uncontrolled. Cooperation in the United Nations has always rested on national sovereignty. National sovereignty, including over migration policies, is a fundamental premise which the Global Compact will uphold. Border must be respected, people must be respected, and therefore migration needs to be managed. This is what we have come today to decide. If we fail to stop irregular migration together, if we fail to regain control, we risk that peoples around the world will turn their back on international cooperation, and we cannot allow this to happen. As leaders, we need to listen and we must take action. Denmark has for 40 consecutive years devoted 0.7% of our GDP to contribute to development in the poorest parts of the world, to ensure that people can see a future for themselves in their own communities, in their own countries. So we live up to our commitments, and we are proud to do so, and we expect others to live up to their commitments too. The Global Compact provides a clear and universal confirmation of states' obligation to readmit their own nationals. We expect this commitment to be upheld. During the adoption in the UN General Assembly in New York, we will deliver an explanation of position clarifying our reading of a number of central elements in the document. We expect to be able to deliver this explanation of position together with Lithuania, the Netherlands, Norway, and additional countries. In our explanation of position, we will acclaim that the Global Compact is a non-legally binding framework, that it does not in any way create new legal obligations for states, nor does it seek to establish international customary law or further interpret existing treaties or national obligations. We will also acclaim that the Global Compact respects the sovereignty of states and reaffirms the sovereign rights of states to determine the national immigration policy and laws. We will further note that the Compact does not create any new legal categories of migrants or associated benefits, and that the Compact reaffirms the legal and practical distinction between refugees and migrants. The Compact will also in no way restrict or curtail already well-established human rights, including the freedom of expression. And finally, we will confirm that the list of actions under each commitment constitute examples which may contribute to the implementation of the Compact, but it will be up to each state to decide how and whether to draw from these examples. Let me reiterate our support for the Compact as a good framework for international cooperation to manage migration in an orderly way. Thank you very much.